Hi everyone, welcome to my Monday Moon Tribe class. We're going to talk a little bit today about the Venus and Sun combustion to just give you an idea of what best practice is for right now. I'm a little sniffly, I'm a little under the weather today, so I'll go as long as I can, but I may do a short class today and give you what you need and then follow up in the group with a post. So there may be some hacking, there could be some sneezing. Hi Carolyn, welcome, and I'll do the best that I can. So if you saw my post from this weekend, I mentioned the combustion that's happening with Sun and Venus right now, and with Ketu, and this is happening in Capricorn. So when we have this sort of combination, remember that Venus is water, okay? So this is your life force quality. This is your health, your vitality, relationships, finances. Venus is representing all of these parts of your inner waters. The fluidity of love and the giving and receiving of love. And Sun is fire, and he's Agni. So we basically have a combination between fire and water. And when fire and water meet, we have what's considered a combustion in astrology. But we essentially get steam, and the water quality gets burned out. So right now, literally, Venus and Sun are about 2 degrees apart, and this is a tight combustion. Anything within 10 degrees is considered very hot and very flammable. And then coupled with the conjunction of both Venus and Sun with Ketu, and remember that Ketu is the planet of moksha. That's sort of a nice way of saying trauma, release, letting go. And Ketu causes restructuring. Anything that he touches, there is a restructuring that takes place. And that restructuring process can be challenging, depending on your relationship with change, with letting go, with loss. Ketu can cause challenges, disappointments, sadness, grief, and on the far end of the spectrum, literally trauma. And this combination of Venus and Sun touching Ketu, and then Venus will pass over Ketu, and then Sun will pass over Ketu. And then this sort of dance between Venus and Sun continues in Aquarius, but not quite as heated. So we're working with this through the end of the month and through February specifically. But the touching Ketu and the passing across and over Ketu is significant because this junction point sort of marks some sort of restructuring and deconstruction between Venus and Sun. And we could look at this like restructuring the heat, the kind of flammability that's taking place. I think for many of you, you're going to see restructuring with finances. Hi Antar, welcome. Restructuring with finances, restructuring relationships, restructuring health and vitality. So whatever that means for you, a restructuring is not inherently bad. It's just a change process that's taking place. And remember, specifically a release process. So there's some release and letting go on these levels. Relationship, finances, health, vitality, and Sun throws in a physical, spiritual component as well. So these dynamics are at play. Mars has now shifted into Scorpio, and this is bringing a little bit more balance. As I mentioned in my new moon wisdom, however, this cycle is about deep dive inward. There is no surface level with this combination. So there is a requirement, especially because Rahu gives his gaze to Mars, and that brings some Rudra energy, some storm energy to Scorpio. There's more power, there's more force, there's more dynamism. How do we use that power? How do we use the strength of Rudra? How do we want to channel that energy? And at the same time, really turning the gaze inward and identifying the personal mythology that's keeping you in the dark. This combination of Venus and Sun is also going to help that identification process. And Mercury and Saturn, they're not in tight conjunction at this point, but they're still conjunct in Sagittarius, which brings some pressure to the mind, brings a sense of squeezing out the grief that is in the mental body. And so we're still working with multiple dynamics. I shouldn't say still, we're always working with some dynamic of confronting and identifying where the challenge is, and then how to use that as a resource for transformation and healing. And that's why the Jyotish chart can be particularly helpful. Just a reminder, I'm teaching my Jyotish immersion for healers and healing this Saturday. So if you, let me just double check. Did I get that right? Yes, it is this Saturday. And we still have a couple spots left. So I'll make sure to post a link in the Facebook group so that you can join us in that. We're going to be diving deeply into how the Jyotish chart is a very powerful resource for your transformation and healing journey. So let's look at the moon. Monday morning, moon is in the final sign of the zodiac, Pisces, in Uttara Bhadra Pada. This has to do with diving deeply below the surface, pulling up, gathering, harvesting the pearls, and then coming to the surface with them. And so we start our week off with a level of depth. Now, Moon doesn't love being in Pisces. Pisces is a little bit watery and fluid and lots of movement, and Moon is already watery and has a lot of movement, so it doesn't really ground the Moon. And you may notice that there is a sense of ungroundedness today and tomorrow. I'm gonna switch here. Okay, so tomorrow, Tuesday, Moon is transiting the final constellation of the zodiac, which is Revati, and this is ruled by Pushan. And Moon actually shifts to Pushan's domain later this evening. Pushan brings nourishment and resources for the journey, for our travels. And so gather those resources, gather what you need. Now, that wisdom might come through some compression, through some challenge, because of Mercury being the ruling planet of this constellation, and Mercury somewhat compressed right now. So there's a process of ending taking place right now. And that's what I want to invite you to really hone in on. What is this release process that you're in? What is churning and moving to the surface so that you can identify it, confront it, and release it? This is what this entire process is about. And I really like to think of the challenge and this churning, the chaos, the transformation that we're in, like the Vedic story of the churning of the ocean of milk, which essentially involved both the devas and the asuras, both demon and god, sattvic and impurity, and that clash, that battle between the two. But they joined together, and these polarities churned the ocean of milk in order to derive some amrita, nectar. And that's the reminder of the harvest. The amrita is the nectar, the harvest, the fruits of our efforts and our labor, when we're in challenge, when we're in conflict, when we're in this chaos process that is transformation and healing. If we're doing our work and paying attention and honoring our results and our needs along the way. So, we're in this churning, we're in the frothing, and what are you harvesting? And what are you prepared to release and let go of in order to really gather the amrita, the nectar, out of the process? So be leaning into that question. What am I closing to? What am I releasing? What am I opening to? What am I gathering here? And this theme continues in the coming days, even as Moon enters Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. So, Moon is transiting Pisces and Revati nakshatra until late evening on Tuesday. Moon shifts into the Gandanta, the gap between Pisces and Aries. Gandantas, there are 3 Gandantas in the zodiac. Each one is specific and offers certain challenges and resources. But this particular Gandanta, the Ashwini Gandanta, has a lot to do with rejuvenation and starting renewed. We do that through self-care, through Ayurveda, through nourishment, healing practices, the creative arts. The Ashwini Kumara twins rule this constellation, this gap, and so they support that healing process. There is a release happening, though, and I want to encourage you to really be mindful of what am I letting go of, because that determines what you have space to receive on the other side. So what am I creating space for? That renewal begins on Tuesday evening into Wednesday. And Wednesday evening, Moon will shift to Bharani nakshatra, the second constellation of the zodiac. And Bharani has a lot to do with restraint and restriction, as well as birthing and the strength and the power of the birthing process. Yama is the ruling deity. So what am I birthing? It will start to take a little more shape and form Wednesday and into Thursday. Thursday evening, Moon shifts into Kritika nakshatra. Kritika is ruled by Agni, and the sun. So we have some heat, we have a solar quality showing up. There is deeply rooted in Agni, in Kritika, is transformation. The transformation and healing process. Agni, fire, supports that transformation. So pay attention for the harvest. Pay attention for change. And really being influenced by the change process. So from Thursday into early Friday, hi Crystal, welcome. Moon is exalted. So this is a big emotional body energy. We'll see this continue through Friday. So being aware of your emotional body waves and how you're surfing. What are the needs showing up underneath the emotion? There's more nourishment available, and there are also bigger feelings available as well. So we want to pay attention to that. Late evening on Friday, Moon shifts into Rohini nakshatra. And this is a very creative constellation. It really exemplifies the manifestation process. So that creative quality. And that continues into Saturday. And so pay attention to your manifestation process. Remember that we're talking about this birthing and creative journey. The what am I releasing? What am I opening to? What am I allowing into my life? What am I creating space for? And we start to plant those seeds Friday and Saturday. So what am I creating? What am I manifesting in this cycle? And Moon is very passionate. Excuse me. Moon is very passionate here. There's some aggression, some anger. If you missed my mention at the beginning of the class, I'm not feeling so well today. I have quite a cough. So excuse me for a minute. I'm just going to have to cough. Okay. So, talk about the Venus-Sun combustion. It's definitely a time to be going slow and attending to the physical body. Moon shifts into Rohini through Saturday. At that point, Mercury has also shifted into Capricorn, joining this combustion between Venus, Sun, and Ketu. So now we have a mental body element that plays in. And even though Mercury leaves that conjunction with Saturn, so some of that pressure is released, he jumps right into the frying pan and into the heat. And then he'll go through that restructuring process with Ketu as well. So understand that come Saturday, the mental body starts to heat up and is also going to require more attention and awareness as well. So late afternoon on Saturday, Moon shifts into the constellation of Mrgashira. This has to do with movement and change and expansion, spreading out. What am I reaching towards? What am I gathering? What resources do I need for this journey? And how to deepen the nourishment? This is really the question of this constellation. And that theme continues through Sunday. Moon has shifted to Gemini at that point, and then Saturn is looking at the moon. So we have some grief. Mars gives his gaze as well. There's a little bit of pressure on the emotional body, maybe some frustration, heat from Mars, pressure from Saturn. Really attend to the emotional body and gather resources, support the release of aggression, frustration, anger. Find stability and grounding. And that takes us into Monday, late afternoon. On Sunday, Moon moves to Ardra nakshatra. This constellation is all about Rudra, the storm god. Big waves of emotion flow from this constellation, and usually aggressive. It can be power as well, because underneath that aggression is great power. So the question is really, how do I want to use that aggression, that power? So we've got Saturn, Mars, and actually Jupiter giving gaze to Moon over the weekend. And there is that frustration piece, but also the ability to learn and expand through this process because Jupiter gives some gaze. So take that into consideration. How this aggression, how this force, how this power can support some new steps, some new part of your process and your journey. Pay attention to the needs showing up. We do that through honoring the challenges and being very mindful of what these challenges are teaching us about ourselves and our own personal mythology. Through the challenge, we find the resource. So we have to be willing to lean closer and actually do our work so that we can harvest what we need and gather the deeper meaning. So I just want to pause here. Notice where Capricorn is in your chart. This is really the seat of most of the intensity in the coming days. We're moving towards an eclipse portal, with the full moon coming on January 1st in Gemini and Ardra nakshatra. So there's that big powerful storm energy. We also start an eclipse cycle. And some of us are feeling that already. So, eclipses have the tendency to shadow our awareness. That's sort of their role. So what's being shadowed? What illusion is showing up? What uncertainty? We'll be working through that in the eclipse portal. And I will talk more about those eclipses that are coming up in my full moon report that will come out in about a week or so. And in the meantime, it's important to just recognize that on January 31st, we have a total lunar eclipse. That'll be February 1st for some of us. And that moves us through February 15th. So we'll be in an eclipse portal for the first part of February. And right now, it's important to be looking at the themes that are emerging right now in your own personal mythology, because that's what's going to intensify during the eclipse portal. So you might have an idea of what's to come. And especially this weekend, when Moon shifts into Ardra, pay attention, because that's our next full moon. So look for themes. So just coming back to Capricorn and looking at your chart, noticing where the number 10 is. This is where that Venus-Sun combustion is. Mercury's moving in to this sign. Ketu's there. And I just want to invite you to see what you notice. So in your chart, where's Capricorn? What house is he in? And these are the themes that are showing up right now. So I'll pause here. You can type into the chat, let me know what themes are arriving based on this combination in Capricorn. And chart specifically, what's showing up for you? And what are the questions that you have? You can type into the chat. I'll follow up with you here. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. Ah, here they are. For some reason, it's not loading on my phone, but I see them here in our group. Okay, so, Lisbeth, hi. You're saying third house. So this is creativity, courage. This is your expressive self, dance, music, art. What's the heat and pressure that you're noticing in these areas of your life? And at the same time, this is also mirroring your 9th house of Dharma. Okay, so those themes, the pressure and the intensity is also helping you look at your dharmic path and your dharmic work. And Melissa is sharing that this combination is happening in the 6th house, Virgo. Yeah, and so this is your healing house. This is where we really look at battles and conflicts within ourselves and with others. So where is that heat and pressure showing up in relationship to the inner battle and even noticing the outer battle? And Sue, 8th house. So the heat and the pressure, the steam coming from the 8th house, and the reconstruction as well. Remember that this is about your unconscious and the unknown, fears and challenges that are essentially from, more of the animal body. This is also death, rebirth, transformation. So, and mirror to the 2nd house. 2nd house of speech. Wow, I don't know what's going on with my internet, you guys, today. I'm sorry. And Facebook. Nothing's loading on my phone here, and now I don't see any of the previous comments, but I see a crop of new ones. So I'm just going to attend to what I see here, and then try to follow up with you later. So Laura, 12th house. This is house of the ancestors. Release, letting go. It's also the house of endings in order to rebirth. So this change process, this reconstruction process is happening there in your 12th house. Really support the release process. Nicholas, the theme lately has been letting go of a false twin flame. This is happening in your 7th house. That makes sense. That letting go process, the change process. And I would encourage you to be thinking about, how that mirror, that reflection in the twin flame is actually a part of yourself. How to integrate and align with and come back to that sense of self within you. Okay, good job, everyone. So let's just take a pause here, and I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes. And just notice your breath. Notice the quality of the breath. Notice the sensation of breath in the body. And just noticing where in the body you feel this tension and pressure, frustration, release. Where do you feel this in the body? Notice where it lands. And just lean closer. Notice if there are any colors or images or shapes that show up with this pressure in the body. And as you lean closer to this feeling in the body, just notice if there's a message. So if this part of you could speak, what would it say to you? And if this part of you could share a need, what would it tell you? So what does it need? I'm just thanking your body for this message. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. And you're welcome to share the harvest that you received from your body. So what did you discover as you leaned in and listened? What's your body telling you that this frustration and pressure needs? So share, type into the chat, let me know what you discovered. The body is very wise. And sometimes all we really need to do is pause and check and listen. And then to follow through on that need. Melissa's sharing that her body needs laughter. Got it. So how can you support that need, Melissa? What action steps could help you bring a little more laughter in? Does anyone else want to share before we close here? Hi, C, welcome. I see some of you here, and then I'm getting other comments in the Facebook group. I'm going to try to attend to everyone, and I may follow up with you after This is posted so that I can see all the comments. Okay, Sue is sharing the message she received is all parts of me are not acceptable, and she needs acceptance of self. So that unacceptable personal mythology is causing all this pressure. I got that. And the need is acceptance of self. And Sue, what would that look like for you? What are some of the ways you can support yourself in this process of acceptance of self? So these needs become very important in our process of taking action steps and following through, gathering what we need to really honor the nourishment in our body. And when we continue to move towards the nourishment and we make choices that honor our nourishment, we make very different choices and we create a life of nourishment. And that's what we're going for here. So let's take a... And I'm going to go ahead and close because my body is telling me it needs rest. And I'm going to go take a pause before my afternoon clients and maybe get outside into the snowy tundra today. We had a nice big snowstorm this weekend. Today it's sunny, lots of wind, but it's a beautiful day. So I hope each one of you will find some action steps today to nourish yourself and to listen to your body wisdom. I will post the moon transits for you so you have something to track through the week. Remember, there's still time to join me and the group for the Jyotish immersion this Saturday. I'll put a post in the group. We still have a couple spots left. We're going to take a deep dive into the Jyotish chart and use it as a resource for transformation and healing. So it is a very powerful resource for that, and you'll learn why. And also identify the trauma in your body and the disconnection points and how that supports understanding your dharmic path and purpose. Remember, you can always sign up for a free Dharma coaching session with me. I still have a couple spots for next week, and I'm also now booking for February for those. So if you're ready for more guidance and support, you're looking for some clarity right now on your path, please reach out to me for one of those free sessions, and together we'll clarify what you need moving forward. Okay? All right, everyone. See you next Monday if I don't see you in the Jyotish immersion or in session. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.